champion, and of course Ferrari is with this man, as we are going to go to that final race before that well-deserved summer 2025 break, which will of course be the F125, the new F125 hot lap of the Hungarian Grand Prix, traditionally run at that twisty and turny, that Mickey Mouse so-called circuit, the Hungarian name obviously after the country where the race is run. Okay, so once again over here we will be finishing off that kind of first half of the first 14 races of the Formula 1 season at one of the hottest places, that actually host the Formula 1 race, because when you are right smack in the middle of the summer, as July becomes August, obviously it can get very, very hot, well in excess of 30 degrees Celsius, in Hungary, so it will be, absolutely crucial over here, and it is a proper place to obviously start that real summer break, as we had a mini summer 2025 break already. And once you master the setup, and obviously that we will talk about, and once you master the heat, then you can jump, into the water park, which from which obviously you can also see, all of the action, especially around, some of these very, very challenging high-speed corners, the blind corners of turns 4, 5, and 6, for example. So there's no better way to then celebrate with your special ceramic Hungarian Grand Prix trophy as you jump into these water parks to cool down, or as we then obviously enjoy the sunny blue skies and the brilliant sunshine and the turquoise water of the summer 2025, right? And there is no better driver to obviously explain the Hungarian to you, because as you know, despite the fact that this is definitely not one of my most favorite tracks, it's probably one of my least favorite tracks, to be perfectly honest with you, due to obviously its uncompromising nature and the constant turns. I've always managed to plan this beautiful scarlet red Ferrari on pole position. So I also managed to set obviously 3 fast steps. I won here twice, so I will once again be going for the lucky 3. Definitely stay tuned this weekend, as I'm sure this season, as I'm chasing the World Championship, the Lucky 3 is what I absolutely excel at. So over here, as obviously this new F125, hot lap is run concurrently at the same time as the pre-practice 2 that the drivers will do at the real life. We will jump into this SF1000T818 Formula 1 Racing Simulator, and of course we will first take a look at the setup, because it's absolutely critical, that you can handle the car, and especially that it has a really good change of direction and traction, and you don't look up under braking. Then we will go on a warm-up lap. We will show you where to get that ceramic trophy, where to jump, for example, into that water park to cool down in that summer European heat, and we will then go for a hot lap. We will see how the new fashion F125 cars can handle it. So are you ready? Of course you are. So let me jump here into the cockpit of the Scuderia Red Ferrari, and we will go here to Hungary, round 14, which of course, this is only the 6th F125 hot lap that we are doing over here. And this track obviously, as you can see over here, has made the debut in 1986. Obviously at the time was a big deal, because it was the first race run behind the Iron Curtain, as Eastern Europe was still obviously being separated from the Western Europe at the time. And we will soon have 40 years of the Hungarian, can you believe it? And many, many more years to come. So over here, let's take a look at the setup first. Setup again, is absolutely critical, right? Because as you're going through these twisted turns, it's very important, that the car can stay planted over here. So let me load it up for you so you can see exactly how to dominate Hungarian. So here, for the fuel load, that stays the same at 10 kg, 10 kilograms aerodynamics, as you would probably expect, like in Belgium, for example, right? The front wing aero at 50, rear wing aero also at 50, that gives you great downforce. We will kind of, make sure we still have a lot of speed down the straight, as we obviously tinker here with the setup. For the transmission, differential adjustment on throttle 100%, differential adjustment of throttle at 30% only. That's pretty good, because that gives you nice rotation, as you will not be always going at the full throttle. So off the throttle, right, when you do 70-80% of the throttle, it will be absolutely critical that the car nicely turns for you. Suspension geometry all the way to the minimum. Front camber minus 3.50 degrees, rear camber minus 2.00 degrees, front toe out 0.00 degrees, rear toe in at 0.10 degrees. For the suspension, once again, front suspension 41, rear suspension at 1, firm and soft, giving you a nice balance. Front anti-roll bar, here we set it at 10 bits off. Rear anti-roll bar at 17, front ride height at 21, the rear ride height at 44, because obviously, you get more downforce with the ground effect cars if you can run them as low as possible. For the brakes, front brake bias at 58% and brake pressure at 100%. You can see we've obviously reinforced over here our whole setup, which is good, but again, gotta make sure, you still hit the brakes, especially at the end of the straight, heading into the turn one, with passion, and kind of softly and gently, not too hard, because you would immediately lock up the wheels as you're going a bit downhill. And for the tires, so here front right tire pressure will be at 26.9 psi per square inch, and you do the same for the front left tire pressure. Then going a little bit less on the tire pressures, because you need as much of that contact patch, right, of the tire with the ground as possible. So we cannot go all the way to the maximum, which would benefit us, down the two straights, right, the main straight and the kind of the shortest straight that follows the main straight from turn 1 to turn 2. But here, really we would lose too much of a lap time, through that Mickey Mouse section. So rear right tire pressure at 23.6 psi per square inch, same for the rear left tire pressure. And this is our setup over here. So, I did set my fastest lap time, obviously, racing just like this. And now, I'm sure you guys are ready to go to the track, right? So let's go here for the warm-up lap. Okay. So here we will take it from the computer. Okay, and here this is critical, right? So here you can go down to the pits, fourth gear, and again get as close to the wall as possible, and with F125 cars, get on the throttle as quickly as possible. You can see here immediately DRS, engage the DRS, and also the battery. You can see, here is a very good ceramic trophy. Oh yay! Just make sure there's no crazy orange driver next to you, with his a famous champagne celebration, so that he immediately breaks it for you. Obviously, me coming just down there, from the Czech Republic, these ceramics are quite fragile, but again, they are part of the culture. Hungary has decided to give it as a trophy. Gotta be careful here, not much to say. You go, pummeling down the straight, you hit the brakes just after the 100-meter board. You downshift very quickly to third or second gear. It really depends, how well you do it. The third gear, second gear, there will be a lot of wheel spin over here. You engage the battery as soon as you can, but not before. You make sure that you are in control of the car. Fourth, fifth gear, there should be no wheel spin at that time. You can use the battery pretty much for the duration of the straight. Don't forget to engage the DRS in the F125 fastest lap. I actually set my fastest time without the DRS being engaged. And here you downshift to third or fourth gear. Fourth gear can actually give you a really nice boost out of this turn. And then obviously going to the fifth gear, slightly here over the curve, you can extend it, as much as you can. Again, it depends how low you are running. And here, this is the blind corner which leads into that water park. So you will be doing like 7th, 8th gear, and then you have to downshift to the 6th and go for it. The 7th, if you make it at 7, just stay within the track limits. Again, it will give you great speed. Look at that water park, look at the yellow and the blue twisters over there, as you will be, going in a split second from 7th to the 5th gear. Again, you cannot go full throttle immediately because the car will spit out. So just play with the throttle, but again, you have a lot of differential adjustment of throttle. So make sure the car doesn't spin out. Here, try to go from 7th to the 4th or 3rd gear. It actually provides nice traction, out of this chicane. Do not hit, obviously, that, other curves. They are too high. And 6th, 5th gear over here, it's super fast, with the ground effects, especially the last two years over here, and you can still go almost full throttle here. Try to take, the early turn in here for this turn, because then you will pretty much be going all full power, 4th, 5th, 6th gear, but you are constantly turning left or right, as you can see, so the car has to have a good change of direction. 7th, 6th gear, I like to just do 7, 6, very high energy with the 6th gear, and that will nicely, then make sure that you can just go down the straight over here, and there's a particular technique. So just before the 50-meter board, you brake to the 4th gear, and you hit it just like this way, and you take as much of the line as possible. And then 6th gear, 3rd gear, you have to send it a little bit. That gives you a lot of the traction, and quickly on the power as you can, obviously with the new reprofiled pedal clutch section. So this is how you master Hungary ring. This is where you can cool down, win the trophies. But now, let's go for a hot lap. We are the Solid Sun champion. Let's go, Jan, come on. Let's go, Jan. This is the hot lap in Hungary before summer break. Look at it. Let's go, Jan. It's really challenging. Let's go, Jan. We stay within the limits. Let's go for it. Early turn in here. And go, Jan, come on. Excellent. Let's go, Jan, come on. Let's go, Jan. Oh my God, 119.2. Hell, that final corner, that really cost us a little bit. But yeah, over here we will stop. So this was a really, really challenging, hot lap. But as you can have seen. But again, you gotta make sure, the car can always spin, right? As you can have seen. But still just within the 2 seconds over there. So we can be very, very happy, obviously, with the lap time that we delivered over here. And yeah, we are always on pole position. Obviously with the fresh soft tires. The red tires, the Ferrari will be absolutely planted over here. So I hope that you guys enjoyed over here. This was the introduction with the new F125 cars, how to master the Hungary. And we cannot wait for the race. Obviously, it can be raining, you never know exactly what the weather will do, right? But I'm sure it's gonna be quite a challenge. As you can have seen, the F125 cars, they're really bit low on the downforce compared to the F124 cars, which are absolutely planted over here. But I'm sure the real drivers, especially with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, they will be planted. I hope you enjoyed this super hot lap over here at one of the closest tracks to, obviously, where I was born. This is also where I was very close to, I would say, where I watched my first Formula 1 race, which obviously made me fall in love with the fastest cars in the world. So over here, let's enjoy the racing no matter what the weather. Let's hope it will be a sunny blue sky, so it can contemplate wonderfully the Scarlet Red Ferrari victory, right? That's right! So over here, everybody, all we can say is, let's race for some